A ghost stands against a king. Let's see who will reign supreme. What's up, guys? I'm Hunter, and here we are to do a nice little breakdown slash discussion. Why Maki, the ghost of the ZENIN, versus RYOMEN Sukuna, the king of all curses, has the potential to be one of the greatest battles in the series. And I say that wholeheartedly from the bottom of my heart as a glazer of both of these characters. As a Maki meat muncher and a Sukuna slopper, we got a whole bunch to talk about. So, let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me, ready. 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to... I don't know why I grabbed it like this. I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, Maki's golly, she in fact had it on her and kept it on her at every single individual opportunity and decided that, you know, the original ghost did it so nice, she had to do it twice. Hit Sukuna from the back, gave Sukuna the back shots he didn't know he needed, knocked his spine back into motion, and I'm very, very excited. But of course, let's lay something clear. As massive, as gargantuan, as the next level of a Maki meat muncher, a triple M, an M, as I am, let me look you in the eyes, dead and clear, so we can get this straight. I believe, under any other traditional circumstance, Maki ZENIN does not stand a chance against RYOMEN Sukuna. If he were at anywhere near his full strength, she would be sneezed at and perish. Heavens forbid the man had his domain and she would be torn down like the building she is. I'll be completely honest with you. I think this scenario is only viable to be one of the greatest fights in the series because of how much that thing RYOMEN Sukuna has gone through. I'll be real, to say Sukuna's been going through it is kind of an understatement at this point. The man's been struck. Like, in this chapter alone, he takes some of the most visceral, visible damage that we've ever seen him take. Like, legit, get cleaved on the face, doesn't really get to heal that off all too much, gets spit directly on his bell eyeballs, gets uppercut slobber knocked, then he has the nerve to get thrown around, and then wombo combo kicked into the face, then gets his arms grabbed up, then gets his tongue torn out, then the mouth being torn open too, then he gets detonated, his two eyeballs detonate too because of Yuji's blood manipulation, then he gets an arm torn off, then he has the nerve to get another arm torn off after getting smacked by Jacob's ladder, and he still has breath. This man has been going through it on a physical level. And on an astral level as well, the fact that Yuji Itadori could even do this, regardless of whatever Megami didn't do in response to Yuji Itadori being able to do this, it is still next level crazy buku bonkers that Sukuna's soul control is so weak that Yuji Itadori was actually able to... Hello? Anybody there? Oh, you gave up? Guess I'll get slashed then. That is still massive. So, once again, let me clarify. No matter how strong Maki has gotten over this time skip, no matter how she got that strong, I don't think she stands a chance against full power Sukuna. Heck, being real with you, and this is Billy my butt, I don't think a lot of the verse stands a chance against one finger Sukuna. Because I think kind of all the Sukunas are uniform. But that's another story for another day. Essentially, I don't believe Maki would stand a chance traditionally. But I do think she stands a chance now. And I think she has a chance to make this battle one of the most interesting we've seen in the entire series so far, because of what her and Sukuna individually have to offer in comparison to a lot of our cast. And by a lot, I mean like literally everyone else except Toji. I guess like Gojo and any of the other flyers. But even then, they don't really be fighting like Maki, Toji, and Sukuna could be fighting. So let's hop into it. Number one, I do generally think, if not for a long time, because once again, let me also make this clear. Not only do I think that Maki wouldn't stand a chance if Sukuna wasn't so beat up, I also don't believe that she's going to be the one to defeat Sukuna. I'll be completely honest with you. Does that mean I think she's going to get got? I hope not. But I also hope Yuta wouldn't get got. This is Yuta right now. So, like, clearly, my hopes and dreams are not a factor to Gege Akutami. So, don't let my hopes and dreams ever mean nothing to you. But at the same time, I don't think she's going to beat Sukuna. But I do think she's put in a very precarious situation right now where she's going to have to run once. And there are numerous reasons for that. The number one biggest reason? How did he say it? How did he say it? Let me see if I can whip out a Josh Brolin real quick. You should have gone for the head. Like, she pierced him in the back. Admittedly, with Soul Split Katana. But, like, she pierced him in the back. Through his chest. Ain't nothing lethal there. Like, notably, I'm not saying, like, it's a good thing. I'm not saying suddenly take your nearest sharp object and pierce it through the center of your... But, like, she hit his sternum. It's like the least valuable of the bones you have. Like, that thing cracks all the time. At least when I stretch, my darn sternum cracks. Which I need to get checked out. That's probably very unhealthy. But regardless of that, she did not remove his head. And she wasted the only surprise attack opportunity that she had. Now he's got eyes on her. All the two good operator ones that aren't covered with detonated Yuji juice. So, like, they're fighting, for one. She cannot, unless the only way you could argue that she just ends it here is if she, before Sukuna, but I presume Sukuna's gonna, or even worse, she's gonna, like, I don't think she's gonna, because once again, I don't think it's her responsibility nor her story to beat Sukuna. I think there's interesting character stuff that we'll get into in a second on why this fight could be interesting and why I think it could be neat if Maki was actually the one to get Sukuna and then we had to deal with something else. But once again, we'll get to that. Another major reason why I think we're low-key going to have Maki versus Sukuna, at least for a little bit, as a genuine 1v1, is, well, look at these two. Well, really these three. Yuta. Like the man's in half right now. If he is alive, and that's a big if, and that's like cope if. Like, if this man survives the thing that the strongest sorcerer of the modern day couldn't survive, then, one, there's going to be some plot nonsense called. And two, it's going to take a minute. I don't presume Yuta's just going to... He's not... Unfortunately, he's not gallant. He's not going to get straight in half and then be like, oh, that's some light work, slap back on, and then get back to cooking. I don't think you're going to do that. But the main one who I believe is responsible for defeating Sukuna, he's in a pretty rough spot right now. Of course, he didn't actually get tagged by World Slash. You can tell this by the fact that he has numerous slashes on him, while Yuta very specifically only has the one, and all the previous cuts he's already healed. And even Rika is also currently in disarray. You can tell by all the numerous slashes on her. Meaning that the only viable combatant who's confirmed to be on the battlefield right now that could throw hands to Sukuna is Maki. Of course, we see that Yuji Todori is able to heal, and heal relatively quickly, from a lot of dangerous, lethal, dastardly attacks from RYOMEN Sukuna. Like, we see him do it earlier on in this very chapter. But number one, remember, Yuji does not have Yuta levels of Curse Energy, last I checked. Even if he does have a whole finger's worth of Sukuna's Curse Energy, that's still not Yuta's levels. And two, he's been healing a lot. Like, you can even see earlier on in the chapter, when he takes a cleave that a lot of people argue he should be resistant to at this point. And he takes a cleave and spits up on Sukuna's face. He's still struggling to get up and force himself to heal. He barely gets to his feet before he immediately has to drop back down and lead to Manji kick Sukuna's face. But still, he's been going through it. Plus, while his RCT is good, and while he has clearly a large amount of Curse Energy now, Yuji must have like high levels of Curse Energy to be spamming RCT this much, it's still very likely that Maki is going to be the one that needs to... Now, with that being established and that being the case, why do I think this has the potential to be so interesting? What about this battle in particular makes it seem so next level, so wonderful, possible to carry on to be one of the greatest that we may have ever seen? Well, number one, let's look at our two combatants here, and not just our combatants, what our combatants can do. Notably, Maki and Sukuna, at least right now, should be very stripped down to their, like, fundamentals, essentially. Sukuna is currently missing darn near everything that made him the perfect creature. Like, the second tongue mouth is still ripped out and it's still mean that's most likely not viable anymore. While he is healing at a really good rate considering how much soul damage he took, it doesn't seem like this arm is fully recovered, and this arm is still clearly off and just barely steaming, meaning it's likely not going to recover anytime soon. Remember how long it took for Sukuna to regrow the hand after he cut it off himself, or at least for it to stop steaming. And also, he's taking a bunch of soul damage, meaning he's reduced to... And of course... And, I'm not sure how to like portray cleave, like grab, but like essentially he's reduced down to that. And Maki, she's got it on her, and she keeps it on her at all times. She's reduced down to that. We got two people who can punch and kick and slash. Of course, one does it by the means and metric of their original body and their curse technique, and the other does it by the means and metric of them literally having a sword and their body. But that reduction down to fundamentals is what's going to allow these characters to operate in ways that only they can. Even Yuji Todori has now become a curse technique merchant, if you will. I'm kidding. But like, he has developed his own fighting style, incorporating things like blood manipulation that are cool to see. But still, I'm not going to say he's limited by Yuta being there. But the extravagance he can do is not to the same league, at least not shown yet, of what Maki and Toji could muster. And if you're wondering what extravagance I mean, I'm talking, not that, Mio, not that. I'm talking this kind of nonsense. Now that the barrier is broken, the whole world, all the rest of the uninhabited demon-infested Shinjuku, the title I've been complaining about for the past, 23 parts, that's now free to bear for them. No other domains are here. Hikari's not back yet, so we aren't seeing him cook up anytime soon. He still needs to cook up against RYOMEN. We aren't gonna see, at least presumably, Yuta Kotu get back up in Redomain very quickly. If he does get back up in Redomain, unless Yuji Todori suddenly looks at a domain that's gonna contain Sukuna, that's also not really going to be a viable option that can happen very quickly. That means the whole world is their oyster. And don't get me wrong, we've seen that can work for and against people, but specifically for a character like Maki, who has, I'm not going to say like perfect, but a lot of extremely good dominion over the air and free space, and takes perfect advantage of the world around her as a means of metric for fighting. It's wonderful in terms of changing up the choreography. We've been having a lot of close range and a whole lot of, but now we open the door to drastically changing the environment. You may be wondering, well, okay, Pencil Man, Maki can do that, but it's not like Sukuna can just go hopping on it. Oh. Remember, this is Sukuna in Megami's body. Now, personally, I'm less and less believing that the bodies even matter. Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm slowly but surely coming around to that. And if that's the case, then he should be able to do the same thing now. Sukuna can literally hop on air. We see this in the Gojo fight as well. He just do be hopping. Like, I don't know. It never gets explained. He has weird heavenly restriction stuff. I'm going to make a full video talking about Sukuna's, like, weird callbacks and abilities that are very similar to heavenly restrictions. But the ability to, like, pseudo-fly by hopping in air is an ability that is exclusive, and I mean exclusive, to him and to Maki. These are the only two characters that can do it. There are other characters who can just straight up fly. Like, Uro can straight up fly. Yuta can straight up fly with sky manipulation. Gojo can straight up fly. But in terms of the specific utilization of air, it's Maki, Toji, and Sukuna. And only two of the listed characters are alive right now. Meaning we could see these two start going band for band, bar for bar in mid-air. It can get tragic, pneumatic, you know it's going to be automatic. And guess what else we know? In spite of popular belief, these gosh darn mystical, magical, next level, crazy, buku bonker slashes that's going to be thrown out at every single opportunity, these next level demonic things that he can just whip out at whatever. That sounds so wrong, but I mean, it's accurate. These things he can whip out at any means of metric whenever he really feels like it. He can send out them dismantles like that, for real. We can see him do it. They can be deflected. We see Big Raga deflect the slashes. They're tangible. Like, we still don't fully understand how they function, but notably, unlike Cleave, which seems to adjust to the cursed energy amounts and, like, your durability, and seems explicitly meant to bypass any freakazoids that have, like, crazy durability, like Sukuna mentions in 250. Wait, not you. Not you either. We're gonna get to you in a second. Hikari, wait, please, I'm begging you. But we explicitly see Cleave is more so used to, like, overpass and bypass anybody who's a little bit too beefy, a little bit too durable, has a little bit too much juice on them, like a Ryui Shigori. But the regular dismantles can be deflected. They can be knocked away. Heck, we even see Yuji do it himself. If you don't remember, well, at least he blocks them. In this image right here, we see a Yuji Itadori manage to not just perceive the slashes, but actually straight up block them. And then notably, while he himself takes a decent chunk of damage from the slashes that land, or at least a piece of the slashes that do, he blocks them off with his arms. He guards his face, and then he takes no damage with them. But of course, once again, he barely does this. He just manages to react close enough, gets to avoid that. You know who else could hypothetically perceive Sukuna's slashes and possibly start deflecting them with a blade that doesn't care about durability? Maki ZENIN. If you don't remember, because I don't blame you, it's been a while, and I'll admit, there's a weird anti-feat to this in 215. It is just straight. I won't even... As much as a Maki meat muncher as I am, it is still crazy to me that they just got point-blank tagged by RYOMEN. And I know, I've heard the defenses, but I'm not going to excuse Maki. As much as I can glaze Maki, I'm not going to be able to excuse her. But remember, Maki essentially has precog, as she mentions here. The atmosphere around us may seem empty, but differences in temperature and air density create scattered surfaces. I just need to seize them. That's how she hops off air, and also how she's able to very consistently read every single one of Naoya's attacks. As she says, that person would have reached that height. That person would have thrown the katana without hesitation. That person would have been able to handle everything at that high speed. It isn't enough to be like everyone else. Something only I can see. Something only that person could see. That exists. She can perceive that. Are you starting to see the vision now? She can perceive that. As Daido told her, it don't matter if you can't see it, if you can see everything around it. So all them dismantles, them deadly slashes that Sukuna can be swinging out, we've only seen two characters seemingly perceive and deflect them. One is the embodiment, the remainder of Sukuna's own cursed energy, a living, breathing, walking, talking finger. And even then he struggled to perceive and block and react to them. And also it was Big Raga, the off-stop. Why not add a third? Especially when it's such an easy layup. It's right there. It's established to be a major part of her kit. It's right there. And of course, it helps a lot that she has the perfect weapon for it. Notably, dismantles and their durability seems weird. Like, Maharaga deflects it, and Yuji's able to block it with his arm pauldron gauntlet thing. It's not pauldron go on shoulders. But, once again, they're presumably pretty powerful. Yuta himself never deflects them. Heck, Yuji himself struggles to deflect them on occasion. But with Soul Split Katana, either, hey, this may sound crazy, she could slash the slashes in half, which could make for some amazing choreography, seeing a slash split a building behind her, but literally split a building as in the two slashes diverge. Or B, she could just use it as like this perfect defensive, offensive weapon. That sounds so backwards, but it's true. In the sense that this blade, this heavenly weapon that needs to be able to be used by those who can see the soul, even in inanimate objects like dismantles. She could start knocking them away, going crazy, knocking them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that could be scrumptious. That could be wonderful. That could be crazy. That could be juicy. Do you see the vision? Are you starting to see it? Are you starting to see it? If you're not starting to see it, don't worry. We ain't done just yet. Because you may be wondering, okay, all right, Pencil Man. You're starting to get me something. All right. So I'll give you this. Maki and Sukuna are two of the only characters in the series who can partake in intense air battles. Something that we don't really get too much. Notably, whenever one character can fly, usually the other can't, or their flight's super limited. But this sort of pseudo-limited flight is something that Maki and Sukuna can exclusively do. So, okay, I'm starting to see that. I can even see a hypothetical vision where Maki being able to use all she's learned from the ability to read the atmosphere as something to be able to redirect, maybe block or knock around and dismantle or two. I can start to see that. But, of course, some of the greatest fights in the series aren't just great because they have really good action, or really good choreography, or they open the world up and they allow us to use it in interesting ways that couldn't be used before. It's the writing behind some of these fights. Like, why is Yuji and Todo versus Mahito one of the best fights in the series? It isn't just because they threw hands real good. It's because of the story that goes into that. The complications, the history between the characters. And I agree. I 100% agree. I a million, billion, trillion, a million, duodecillion% agree. I agree so much, in fact. I think the layup here is quite clean, quite buttery. Dare I say, just a little bit obvious. Because remember, these characters, they do have history. It's brief. It's not too highlighted, but that history is there. That history is present. We got the start of this fight. We got the start of it. A hint of it. A whiff of it. A taste of one of the best jujutsu jumpings in the entire series. We got a little taste of it. And that was way back when in 215. And notably, as we see, Maki flat out held back a little bit. She was like, okay. I can take some hands. But what does she ask? Even if he can't perish, can he heal wounds from Soul Split Katana? Or Split Soul Katana? Is it Soul Split or Split Soul? I always say Soul Split. Maybe it's Split Soul. But can he heal wounds from that? There's still questions up in the air. But as we can see in 251, Maki's gotten rid of that predilection. He doesn't care if he can heal or not. She's about to get down and dirty with it. And of course, note what Sukuna fully admits. Whoa. Wait a minute. You kind of clean with it. Just a little bit buttery with it. I don't see any damage from Nue. Guess she's an easy to take down. So even Sukuna's little bit of respect on there. And the battle has already begun, hypothetically, from 215. It's been there. The door is open on some Kingdom Hearts type beat. So these two have started their battle, and they've given their respect to each other, drawing juice from each other, exchanging blows, knocking around, getting a little bit chaotic, a little bit devious. But once again, one of the weirdest, I don't want to call it's kind of just a feat for RYOMEN. And it's not like too out of character or too crazy for her. But like it is still very crazy that she tagged one of the fastest characters in the series with admittedly a max output gigantic attack. But still, I still think it's crazy that Maki got sealed by this and we don't see her for the rest of the chapter. But even Sukuna admits, remember, in terms of character writing, in terms of character investment, Sukuna himself admits, I'm done with him, so it doesn't matter. It was right to focus cursed energy on the girl. Sukuna himself admits there's a few droplets of respect. He doesn't know her name, but he knows she's different. Well, actually, he should know her name because he has access to Megabe's memories. But he knows that she's a little something special. That she's going to take some effort. That she's no easy lick. Remember the few other characters that Sukuna genuinely gave accolades to. We meme and joke that, he gives everyone but Yuji accolades. But remember, the only people he ever gave true proper notice to, true proper attention to, were maybe two others. Number one, if we go back in time, he's RYOMEN. He put respect on his potential, on his ability for growth, his skill with jujutsu. And of course, like all others that he gave respect to, he sliced him down eventually, but he gave him respect. And that was a fantastic battle. And of course, you remember the other man he gave respect to. The very same man he slashed in half, Gojo Satoru. The man who he will never forget as long as he lives. He gave respect to Gojo Satoru and they had their nice little battle. And heck, even if it wasn't as much respect, even Kashimo Hajime was worthy enough to whip out the world slash on. Kashimo Hajime was dangerous enough to be acknowledged and hit with the most serious attack we've seen Sukuna use since Gojo. No one else has been hit with the waffle iron. Not even Yuta Okotsu was hit with the waffle iron. Well, he kind of was. He kind of pseudo was in 251. And that's kind of the other person that Sukuna has acknowledged. Yuta Okotsu. All these people who in their own way are the strongest. The second strongest, have potential to be the strongest, have talent rivaling the strongest. Sukuna's given accolades to all of them and to Maki. Maki is someone that Sukuna pays attention to. So, not only has their battle already started in a way in 215, just put on hiatus thanks to the intervention of RYOMEN, but also there's respect. There's interest, there's intrigue. In fact, that's a big reason why, well, admittedly, there are a couple reasons why I think Sukuna smiles here. But, in my opinion, that's a big reason why Sukuna, out of nowhere, realistically, suddenly starts, for some reason or another, he suddenly starts cheesing a little bit right there at the end. Bro just got pierced through the back. He just got these unholy back shots from Casper. And he starts grinning. He's a little bit excited himself. As he said, he's having a wonderful meal right now. And sure, the last one was real tasty, but why not another? Why not one with some spectral qualities to it? But of course, that's once again the direct ties between these two characters. Of course, Maki has the motivation to fight him, because and Gojo, and everyone else. But that aside, what's the super narrative behind this? What's the higher narrative, right? What does a battle between Maki and Sukuna represent? In something that Yuta versus Sukuna didn't represent. In something that Yuji and Yuta versus Sukuna didn't represent. In something that Higuruma and Yuji versus Sukuna didn't represent. And something that Gojo Satoru versus RYOMEN Sukuna didn't represent. And even something that Hajime Kashime. Why did I say Hajime Kashime? Hajime Kashimo versus Sukuna didn't represent. What is the one thing that these two can show on a grander narrative scale, on a meta-narrative scale, that only these two can offer each other? Well, remember, Maki is the ghost of the ZENIN. The one who is the reincarnation of the one who left it all behind. She is the liberation of the Jujutsu system, literally and figuratively. Of course, she's still bound to it. I think that's ultimately going to be the shackle that ends up getting her cut down, if she does end up getting cut down. The fact that she still wields a blade, connected to Jujutsu, goes to show that she's still fundamentally tied to it, and the fact her appearance on this battlefield is a statement of her connections and ties to the Jujutsu world. But remember, Maki is essentially Sukuna's antithesis, in a way similar to Satoru Gojo. But remember, those two aligned for they were the strongest. Kashimo and Sukuna aligned in the sense that they were the strongest of their respective eras. Yuta ended up aligning with Sukuna as they were the great devourers, and also the strongest of their respective eras. Admittedly, Yuta was the strongest for a shorter period, because, like, he was only the strongest after Gojo got. But still, they were the strongest. They overlapped. But they were the strongest of what? In particular, the strongest of the Jujutsu system, the strongest of cursed energy, the pinnacle of what the power system had to offer. Sukuna is Jujutsu sorcery, perfected, as Kashimo himself notes when he starts. I shouldn't have done that. But, like, when he starts glazing, that's exactly what Kashimo notes. Sukuna is perfection. What cursed energy is refined to its point and limit. It is the pinnacle. And Maki is the exact opposite of that. In a similar way to how Sukuna attempts to break everything, Maki does break everything. An opposite, a contradiction. Free of domains, free of cursed energy, free of the binds of the world, where Sukuna himself still remains bound, clear as the marks on his skin that ultimately bind him to the system of Jujutsu. So ultimately, the battle between Maki and Sukuna isn't just a battle between two extremely powerful, extremely fast characters with extremely unique abilities that can match up in interesting ways. It isn't just a battle that is meant to essentially fill space between the ultimate, most likely final battle of either Maki, Hikari, and Yuta, plus Yuji versus Sukuna, or just Yuji versus Sukuna. It isn't just something to fill space while Yuji himself heals and recovers from this massive amount of damage he took. It isn't even anything, just a battle that will end up with Maki's end. Or end up with Maki's conclusion to a battle that was started long, long ago in 215. What ultimately this is a battle between two ideas. It is a question between Kenjaku and Yuki. What is better? Does the liberation and evolution of humanity lie with embracing and optimizing cursed energy in the way that RYOMEN Sukuna has? The perfect optimization of cursed energy in all its means, functions, and factors. Or is it breaking away, leaving that world of cursed energy behind, and transcending it to create something different, a different type of superhuman that had never yet been seen before? That is what this battle ultimately is. A battle between two who represent the exact opposites while being directly tied into each other's systems. And I think that is why this battle has the potential to be the greatest, or one of the greatest in the series. And it's why I'm so, so excited. However, that is what I think. Please, what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think I'm nuts? Do you think I'm reading way too deep into this? And we're going to open up, and next chapter, Maki's going to be in the airport with Toji, knocking back Moses. Or do you think that I may have a fraction of truth? Do you think Maki's going to be able to see or redirect or predict or do anything to dismantle? She thinks he's going to get sliced in half. What do you guys think? I want to know all that and more in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave the Ghost King. Actually, no, leave King of Ghosts. Leave the King of Ghosts, because I think I've used Ghost King before. Leave the King of Ghosts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Instead of becoming a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, along with ad-free variations of all my videos. And if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can request any video you want. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Bag with a Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, O'Connor Plays, Greyhound, Akids Void, Astro, and Red Wolf 4765. I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Steron, Sean, RNG Master, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Jermaine, Igneal, EHAC1. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 members, Autumn, Mornings Lazo, Jan, Toma. And I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our $10 member, J Warrior. And I'd like to give another thank you to our two $10 patrons, Joaquin and Item Okami. And I'd like to give a hefty thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. And I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Winter. Another hefty thank you to our $25 patron, ChinaDoll09. And a final gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.